do you want to be president in general?
I want to be president for several reasons, but honestly, the simplest one is that in the time that I've spent at ELN, I've truly fallen in love with the place. And the reason for that is that it's given me so much. Almost the entirety of my personality has been developed through student organizations and the opportunities that I've been given through my school and by my peers. And I know that through my experience on exec over the last year, SGA plays an important role in everyone's ELN experience. And I just want to be a positive force in everyone else's.
Okay. You can just talk to me now.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know what it was.
I know.
Okay.
It's weird. It's different than what you just said. All right. So, kind of going back a little bit to earlier this year, what are your thoughts on the Chick-fil-A?
Well, I think it's an issue that's very complicated. But I think that the one way that it was most importantly mishandled was that there was never a time, even on an SGA level, that, let's say, the sponsor of the bill and the strongest proponent against it were in a room together. They were able to yell at each other across an SGA room, and they were able to, make Chick-fil-A Appreciation Day or don't go to Chick-fil-A Day, but they were never in a room together with who I think should have been the executive president, sitting and working out a solution. There was never a time where the legislation went through the process that it would in a normal legislative situation, wherein people with one idea about the bill were met with people with another idea about a bill. And there was never a reconciliation period. So there was always just an increasingly divisive situation. So my response would be merely to encourage conversation between people on SGA and not even on SGA to find a solution.
So if something like that were to happen again, how would you approach it?
Well, it's funny. I was actually having this conversation with a couple of people on SGA, and jokingly, but it really gets to the heart of it, what I do is I'd get a bunch of Smart Water and some Cliff Bars and sit in my office with the two people that were heads of the two sides and say, hey, we're going to be hanging out here until we find a solution, or at least until you guys will talk to each other.
What are your thoughts on student activity raising?
The student activity fee budget examination was actually something that I proposed during my term. And the biggest reason I would suggest that is a good idea is because ELN actually pays for many more things with its student activity fee than most other universities do. Most other universities have a dedicated budget for homecoming and for a lot of their organizational budgets and special allocations. ELN doesn't. And despite that fact, our student activity fee level is still considerably lower than most of our peer and aspirants, such as Richmond. And I think that this, if we were to examine increasing the fee, would allow us to have larger homecoming activities and allow students to do more. I think that if we ever get to a point where it seems like that money's being squandered, then we should absolutely either decrease or keep it where it is. But honestly, as executive treasurer, the allocations that I've seen and the amazing projects that people have undertaken have been totally worth the money that I'm at least happy paying. That's for sure.
How's the audio? Okay. Sorry. Only a couple more.
Okay.
Okay. Kind of along with that, what are your thoughts on tuition increasing?
Well, I think that tuition increasing, as we are a private university, is something that is a hot topic on a global level and even on a local level if we look at this. I mean, it's something that needs to be controlled. And having had the privilege to sit on the Board of Trustees meeting this year as an exec, it's been something that the university is taking very, very seriously because we are assigned as a lot of things: an experiential learning college, a top business school, a top communications program, and a very, very, very affordable option for colleges for people that want a high-quality experience. So we need to find a way to manage our reputation and our tuition costs in a way that allow us to offer the best experiences, keep opening lakeside dining halls, as many as we can, and still make it an affordable option for anyone that wants to come here. And I think that this can be counteracted not just by managing tuition, but re-examining the way that we do most of our merit scholarships, which is something I know a lot of departments on campus are looking at.
What are your specific plans for next year, and why are you better suited for this position than your opponent?
Well, in response to the first one, my specific plans for this year are primarily reorganizing the organizational council, which probably sounds like a tongue twister. In fact, it was. But for people that aren't familiar with SGA, there are three wings. First, the at-large council. These are your class representatives that you're used to. You have academic representatives, which are nominated by deans. And then you have organizational council, which is designed to represent each one of the organizations on our campus. They're split into clusters. And this is a very powerful wing of the Senate. It's almost a third of the votes. And traditionally, it's been something that's been underutilized. My number one initiative, and has been ever since I was organizational council liaison my freshman year, has been to increase the amount that these individuals play on Senate. We did it my freshman year by implementing the President's Center, which brought all the presidents of organizations together to meet with President Lambert. We did it over the last year by involving organizational cluster representatives in the budget hearing process. And moving forward, I want to work with senior staff to reorganize clusters so that they make more sense. So that's the largest thing. But as I referred to in my speech, the thing that I really want to define my presidency is a new level of interaction that the student body president has on a policy level with students. It's very common to hear people mention qualms that they have about the university. And the nice thing about my perspective on student body president is that I don't want to go into politics. I'm a finance major, I want to go work for a bank somewhere, which means that I don't have an agenda here. I have no political agenda to push ELN farther to the left or the right. I merely want people to be able to achieve the goals that they've set out to achieve while they're at ELN, and to be able to feel like they're part of a community. And to address your final comment about why am I best qualified, obviously for all the reasons that I've espoused through this interview and through the speeches and the debate that we gave. But most importantly, the reason that I feel that I'm the most qualified candidate for student body president is that I have the experience to know exactly how to help ELN students get what they want. I've had experience through executive treasurer, which have allowed me to develop relationships with students, professors, and faculty that I know how to get things done, anything that comes up. And my track record with getting allocations passed, I hope, has demonstrated that I have the desire to get things done for ELN students.
So, I mean, based on your major, based on what you want to do, and clearly it makes sense why you were treasurer. Why the big step up to president?
Well, I don't think that it's necessarily a big step up. Having served on exec, the 4 execs work together to achieve a goal. And that's why it's so important to have good element, and it's very important to have aspects of everything. But the one thing that, you can argue that, a sports and events management or planning, someone with a background in event planning would be the best secretary. That's not always necessarily true. It's the person that cares the most and who knows the most about getting the job done. And that's why I think I'd be the best president.